చేసితి మనజ బహుని రాణి వాణి వీణా వాణి మాణిక్యమకుట భూషణ విలసితే మాణిక్యమకుట భూషణ విలసితే మాణిక్యమకుట భూషణ విలసితే మాహింతు మంజుళ బాకులను సగవే పమ తిమరి సని సరి మ పని పమ పమరి పామని పని సరి స ని సరి మరి సని సరి మ రి సని ప్రాని పని పమరి సరి మ వాణి వీణా వాణి చారుహాసిని జగన్మోహిని చారుహాసిని జగన్మోహిని సంసారతాప సమని సుగంధిని సారసవాహిని సామజకామిని సారసవాహిని సామజకామిని సారసవాహిని సామజకామిని శారది కళ్యాణి సంశ్రిత క్లాదిని సమస్త విద్యాతాణని పుణే శతభక్త కల్పకే శ్యామళే निर्मले नादरसिके निधि प्रदे वरदे शुभदे श्रीवाणी वीणा वाणी निन्नो वन्दनं चेसिति वनज बहुनि राणि वाणी वीणा वाणी
Namaskaram, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We welcome all of you for the online art festival organized by New Jersey Natya Sangamam. New Jersey Natya Sangamam was started in 2015 by 4 dance teachers, Chitra Ramaswamy, Lavanya Mahadevan, Aparna Ram and myself Anuradha Ranganathan. Though we all had our own dance schools, we wanted to get together, collaborate and perform together. That's the idea behind starting the organization, where like-minded dance teachers can come together, collaborate, participate, practice, and then perform everywhere. As part of which we have done a lot of productions and performed it in and around New Jersey.
As teachers, when we started to come together, collaborate, and exchange ideas, we understood how important it is for our students to have the same experience what we got back in India. Hence, we started NJNS Student Wing with a name for the students to get an exposure from the senior artists who visits New Jersey. NJNS also has a performing artist group which provides a platform for the teachers of New Jersey. By exchanging ideas, by collaborating with the senior artists from India, we have produced Shakti with Guru Sri Narendra Kumar Lakshmipati, and Ritu with 25 dance teachers from tri-state area in collaboration with Guru Srimati S. Divyasena.
NJNS vision is to promote the art by creating a learning platform for both teachers and students. We envision to be a collective voice for Bharatanatyam in US and beyond. As we are growing and extending our boundaries, several teachers and dancers from other continents have been reaching out to us to collaborate with us to address the needs of dancers, to bring up the students' level and making this learning very futuristic. We at NJNS aspire to be a one-stop association to satisfy the cultural quest of avid dance lovers.
As with any art, the first step to development and improvement is by understanding the strength and weaknesses of oneself. With this in mind, we started the Natyanjali dance competitions, which precisely aimed at this. And yes, by virtue of it being a competition, there is a winner. But the competitions did just more than choosing one winner. The participants who competed started to compete with themselves. For each one of them is given a detailed feedback of their strengths that they needed to highlight on and of their flaws that they needed to fix to move to the next level. In that sense, many participants became our regulars at the competitions, for it not only helped the students understand their improvement from the earlier years on, but it also reinforced what their teachers have trained them on, and it, coming from the third person, gave it the much needed spark and thought for the student. Natyanjali has been very popular and it has grown to great lengths in the last 5 years, where the festival has moved from being a half-a-day affair to a 3-day affair, wherein each student, the teacher, and the esteemed artists who join us as judges for fun-filled days of dance, dance, and dance. Having said that, an artist is one who grooms oneself every day and earns for knowledge. With this knowledge and sharing in mind, we wanted to create a festival that features artists in North America who have broken boundaries to set the path that they are treading. It's important for us to hear these voices, for it's not easy to bring in art unknown to these lands and yet have the same pace and dedication with those who live and breathe this art form back home. With the many challenges they have in this country, we all strive and work hard with just sheer love for this art. Let's give a huge shout out for our first panel of artists who are being featured in Bridges, Art and Beyond. The list of people to be featured is exhaustive, and this is our first humble attempt to feature some of the great artists, each one path-breaking in one way or the other, bridging continents, collapsing boundaries, and carving a niche of their own. Art should always be inclusive, for you never know when an artist turns into the art itself. And hence, here we are with Bridges Season 1, Art and Beyond. Please join us every Saturday from May 30th to June 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With this, I hand over the spotlight to the MC of today's evening. Thank you so much from all of us at NJNS for joining us and supporting us.
We at New Jersey Natya Sangamam are honored to present some wonderful artists who have made their mark in the field of Bharatanatyam. New Jersey Natya Sangamam welcomes you to the second session of our online arts festival, Bridges, Art and Beyond. Indeed, we are very honored to feature our esteemed artist for the week, Smt.Sujatha Srinivasan. Smt.Sujatha Srinivasan is an accomplished dancer, choreographer, teacher of Bharatanatyam in North America. Trained under illustrious gurus in India, Srimati Sujatha is known for her prodigious talent from her very young age. She brings creative compositions to life with dynamic rhythm, evocative mind, and inimitable choreography. Her dance productions are classical and vibrant and reflect a wide range of themes from traditional to modern. Her training in yoga, mridangam, music, and multiple languages lends depth and uniqueness to her work that has won praise from press and connoisseurs. As an arts educator, she brings meaningful connection between arts education in Northeast Ohio schools through her Center for Arts Inspired Learning. For her untiring dedication to Bharatanatyam, she has been awarded numerous titles such as Nritya Sevamani, Nritya Ratnakara, Nadana Mamani, and Bharatanatyam Tilakam. As a teacher, she has nurtured and trained the next generation of dancers, successfully establishing the continuity of the traditional art form Bharatanatyam. It is our honor for New Jersey Natya Sangam to present Srimati Sujatha Srinivasan.
Good afternoon, fellow artists, dance students. I'll begin again. I hope you can hear me. Good afternoon, fellow artists, dance students, and Rasikas. I'm extremely happy to be part of the series by Natya Sangamam and eager to share my experience as a Bharatanatyam dancer, teacher, and choreographer. I would like to start off with presenting a Javali, Smara Sundarangu in Paras Ragam and Aditalam. This describes a Naika who's very fond of her husband, and she compares him to Cupid himself, or infinitely beautiful than Cupid. And she tells her friend, who among the men here can be equal to my lord? Look at him. He's full of all the good virtues. He's beautiful looking. And he will listen to anything I say. He'll be at my beck and call, and he doesn't look at anybody else. I will briefly dance the Pallavi, given the time constraint.
Sujatha, I'm sorry to interrupt, Sujatha. We cannot hear the volume. Can you please share the volume properly? We cannot hear you.
An issue?
Yes, we cannot hear the song, Sujatha. Can you please?
Oh, 1 second. Yes, 1 second.
And please start from the beginning, Sujatha, because we could not hear the song.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Smt.Sundaram.
ಸ್ಮರಸುಂದರಾಗುನಿ ಸರಿಯೌವರೆ ಸ್ಮರಸುಂದರಾಗುನಿ ಸರಿಯೌವರೆ ಸ್ಮರಸುಂದರಾಗುನಿ ಸರಿಯೌವರೆ ಸರದ ಕೋಟಿಲೋನ ಮರಿರುಗವೀರೆ ಸ್ವರಸುಂದರಾಗುನಿ ಸರಿಯೌವರೆ ಸರದ ಕೋಟಿಲೋನ ಮರಿರುಗವೀರೆ ಸ್ವರಸುಂದರಾಗುನಿ ಸರಿಯೌವರೆ ಸರದ ಕೋಟಿಲೋನ ಮರಿರುಗವೀರೆ ಸ್ವರಸುಂದರಾಗುನಿ ಸರಿಯೌವರೆ 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 ಆಡಿನ ಮಾಡಲು ಅಡ್ಡ ಮುಗಲು ಕಡೆ ಆಡಿನ ಮಾಡಲು ಅಡ್ಡ ಮುಗಲು ಕಡೆ ಗೆಳೆಯರನು ಕರುಣಾಡಲೂಡದೆ ಆಡಿನ ಮಾಡಲು ಅಡ್ಡ ಮುಗಲು ಕಡೆ ಗೆಳೆಯರು ಕರುಣಾಡಲೂಡದೆ ಗೆಳೆಯರನು ಕರುಣಾಡಲೂಡದೆ ಸ್ವರಸುಂದರಾಗುನಿ ಸರಿಯೌವರೆ ಸರದ ಕೋಡಿಲೋನ ಮರಿರುಗವೀರೆ
Today my topic, I hope you can see my screen. Today my topic is laying the cultural framework for learning Abhinaya in this country. Body language is the basis for non-verbal communication. In the daily world, we give off cues using our hands, face to augment our words. In the dance world, it is the only mode of communication to not only convey such deep detail to the viewer, but also to evoke an emotional reaction from them. Thus, we have a great onus to make our Abhinaya highly effective. Abhinaya is the ability to communicate through body, language, movement of the limbs, stance. Give me 1 second. I will have to share my screen for 1 second. Give me 1 second. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, I just wanted to know if you're able to see my screen. Give me 1 second. Are you able to see my screen now? Okay, so I'd like to start here. Body language is the non-verbal communication, as I said, and Abhinaya is the ability to communicate through our body, language, movement of the limbs, stance, gait, and most importantly, the face. The verbal imagery provides the foundation and is a bedrock. The movements are the superstructure which a dancer creates. For the most part, Bharatanatyam relies on the visualization of the song and the dynamic choreography and interpretation the dancer or the choreographer brings to it. How does one create this experience? If we take a look at students that are in the early stages, they mostly absorb my choreography, memorize it, and replicate it. As one advances to a more mature artist, they truly understand, internalize, and then emote from within. That is what is expected out of them. Of course, that journey takes time, practice, and personal growth. But one major barrier we face is here, that of the cultural context. Back when I was learning, the cultural and the social context surrounding the songs we were taught were in alignment with the India that I lived in. Drawing water from a well came naturally to me. Nowadays, when I teach the same Sanchari, they have no concept of drawing water from a well. This gets more and more complicated when we talk about emotional exchanges, complex relationships that are portrayed in Padams and Javlis that are not the same in our lives here, just like the song I did. Today, the students have to understand those cultural barriers that they face and master the nuances to become a successful performer. Over the last 25 years or so, I have developed a set of strategies to help students cross this cultural boundary. This process heavily emphasizes learning the context, language, meaning, and music to make the transition. And that's going to be the core of my presentation today. The 4 components of Abhinaya that I use to create the magic bubble in which I create the scene and tell a story are Angika or Abhinaya, denoting through the use of Angas, the entire body. Vachika or speech, that is used in drama, dialogue or song. Aharya or the costumes and the physical decorations, props. And Satvika or the inner emotion and message that is conveyed to the audience. And Abhinaya, the word comes from the root Abhinayati iti Abhinaya. That means leading an audience towards the experience of the dancer. I would like to take a step forward and say the audience is led into my inner view and participate in the magic world I'm creating so that we both can be on the same page and experience it together. How do we go about it? What are the building blocks? The first one, I think, is knowing your story. Be it a shloka on Ganesha, a song on Rama or Krishna, or depicting goddess Durga killing Mahishasura, or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It is essential for the student to know all the characters and the details. Knowing our mythological stories and epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata adds value to the learning experience, as there is no story, emotion, vice or virtue that has not been dealt with in them. I also highly recommend knowing more about the author of the song. This places the lesson in context, socially and historically. A composition of the Tanjore Quartet or Kshetraya is way different from those of Saint Annamaya or Subramanya Bharati. Next, knowledge of music. Particularly Carnatic music is of paramount importance. It defines the quality of the learning. As a dancer, we need to know how to enjoy the song, when to linger, when to pause, when to fill up, and when to finish. And third, what is very important is to know the meaning, the importance of a word. And it cannot be stressed enough that every child who learns to emote should know the meaning. Traditionally, we start teaching Abhinaya when the student begins to learn Shabdam. I suggest teaching Abhinaya as early as when the student has completed learning the basic adabus and they are still perfecting them probably around the end of third year or beginning of the second year. Introducing shlokas and small poems and learning to express with mudras and expressions are a great way to start the process. I ask the students to bring their favorite poem and we try to discuss ways and means to depict them and make the connection between the word and its meaning, which are inseparable. While teaching Kani Nilam Vendum, a Bharatiyar song, I experimented by asking my students, probably around the age group of around 10 or so, to visualize the entire song as a picture. This visual imagery strengthened a deeper understanding for the student to create their magical story. It also reveals the close connection between dance and the allied arts. What I also do is to have some teaching techniques that help to take the process forward. For the beginners, I would say imitating the teacher is the first step until you can comprehend it fully. Smile, that's a big yes for the dancer to be successful. Nobody wants to look at a face that is not smiling while the dance is going on, because it does not show that we are enjoying or not enjoying our dance. To bring bhavam or to connect, I often suggest that we begin with a nod at the end of a sentence. For instance, if I have to say, Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Madhura Puri Sadana, Mriduvadana, Madhusudana.
Gatam Krishna. Nodding or telling the audience that this is what it is very important. That is the connection we establish. Following the hands with the eyes is another aspect of dance that I emphasize. It helps in making the connection of what one wants to say and being mindful of it while executing. For a keen student of dance, there will come a matured stage when the hands and the expression mesh together. And it makes the dancer a better communicator. Herein, I would like to tell you the meaning of Yato Hasta Tato Drishti that you see on this screen. Where the hands go, so should the eyes. And where the eyes go, goes the mind. Where the mind goes, the soul goes. And therein is born the bhava. And when the bhava is born, rasa is generated in the viewer. For instance, if I were to do an adavu, tai yum tat ta tai yum ta ha. It's a very simple adavu, but I will show it to you in two ways. Tai yum tat ta tai yum ta ha. Tai yum tat ta tai yum ta ha. Ta tai ta dit tai ta. Ta tai ta dit tai ta. Now the same could be shown like tai yum ta ta tai yum ta ha. Tai yum ta ta tai yum ta ha. Ta tai ta dit tai ta. Ta tai ta dit tai ta. I'm sure it added beauty the second time I showed it to you. What happens is, when the mind goes there, automatically we send a little feeling towards that, and it enhances the way that dance is presented. This is for the nritta. I would like to interpret it for abhinaya. For instance, in abhinaya, if I were to say, this whole wide world is so awesome. When I say that, my hands showing the world is just within about 2 feet from my body. But my eyes go further down and transcend this room and go into the outer world, this entire world. So how I see it when I project takes the hand gesture with the eyes, take it to beyond the border. And then when I'm going to show you the moon, the stars, the beautiful flowers, etc., what happens is I take you to a world that I want to show you, which is not even inside this room or inside the building. It's way beyond. And I might take you with your mind to Mathura, where Krishna lives, or to Ganges to take a bath and to do the Aarti, or to Chidambaram to see Lord Nataraja. So in this way, I take that Yatahasta Tato Drishti to mean to transcend beyond just the physicality of the hand gestures and the boundaries that it faces on us. So this helps us to take it beyond. What is it for the intermediate student? For the intermediate student, songs which are appropriate for their age and their skill set should be matched. Each student comes with their own talent, and we should be able to manipulate it and bring out the best in them. Students also should be taught the difference between Padartha Abhinayam and Vakyartha Abhinayam. What is it? For instance, in the line, Teruvil varano ennai chatre thirumbi parano. on my street, will Shiva, Nataraja, walk by and then glance at me? This is the Pada Artha Abhinayam, where I have verbally given each word a hand gesture. Literal meaning has been conveyed. The same can be done if I take the sentence meaning, which is, won't Shiva come down by my street and look at me? Watch the same done again. Teruvil varano, teruvil varano, ennai chatri திரும்பி பாரானோ தெருவில் வாரானோ என்னை சற்றே திரும்பி பாரானோ. So that is the difference between Padartha Abhinayam and Vakyartha Abhinayam. The next important thing that the student has to know is Thayi Bhavam, which is the basic overall mood of the song or the character. I'm now going to take up the story of Lord Shiva, who obtained the mango fruit, which was the fruit of knowledge. And his children, Muruga and Ganesha, were fighting to have it. It could not be shared. When displaying or when conveying this story, what we have to remember is the character of Shiva, the stature, the stance as a dad, and when he is calling out to his little children, it has to be at a level where it suggests that they are little children. If not, if I did, it is like calling equals. So this is maintaining the Sai Bhavam as the father. And when Muruga or Ganesha look back at their father, we have to remember that they have to look up a little bit to establish they're portraying, they're looking at an older person. And while delineating the entire song, we should not forget their height and their age and suddenly start addressing each other in a different height. They should not have grown throughout the song unless the song suggests it. That is maintaining the Sai Bhavam with place, character, space, and role playing. It's also the same while playing a Nayaka or a Nayika, and that depends on what the song or the context is suggesting. That should be ingrained in the dancer. And imagining the scenario. How do we imagine the scenario? So, miming or pretending, believing you are the character is vital. I'm often charmed when I see a little child playing some pretend game and how they totally believe that they are that person. That is the kind of 100% focus or 100% involvement that they have. It is also important to contemplate on it and improve on it every single time. Reading texts, for instance, if I'm going to be doing something about the Ramayana or Mahabharata, going back and referring to the original text to really know what Hanuman did or Sita did is very important. For the advanced student, students should be taught the whole context of the song, and they should have a crystal clear understanding of the Nayaka or Nayika and the cultural context.
Sujatha,
I would like to
interrupt. So sorry, Sujatha.
Yeah.
Actually, can you, if you're done with the slides, can you just make sure that your video takes the precedence?
Say that one more time.
If you're done with the slides, can we bring your video in focus? Because currently we are seeing you as a small window because your screen share is taking the majority space.
Yeah, I will be shortly finishing.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so I would like to show Maryada Taliyakane, where Maryada Taliyakane, wherein the student should be able to, okay, let me see if that is, Mariyada Teliyakane, in which there are three characters that are played. The social context of the song, where the dancer or the Nayika says that the Nayika is behaving annoyingly in public. Mariyada Teliyakane Mataladuta Tagunate. So when I'm doing that, I should be aware of the secondary characters that I'm playing and also the principal character, and I should not be mixing them up. And while doing this, I should sometimes when I teach this, I do get the message from several students that it's very awkward to connect to these characters and portray them, because essentially they do not know or have the same emotions and never felt the same as those characters. Working on the nuance with the student until the student gets it, and marinating in the mood and content is very important to make the connection. For instance, in Mariyada Teliyakane, I would, for instance, if you were to tell the student, say, look and chide him or give him verbal cues like, how come he is behaving like this on the street? It is not appropriate. What does he think he is? Who is he? Maybe we grew up together as friends. How does that make it? Those simple nuances or gestures or the way we turn a face are all very, very unique to our Indian way of doing the Abhinaya. And that has to be incorporated with the student while the teaching is happening. So I try to make the learning as close as possible to whatever I went through. And I have incorporated so many aspects because I felt that the students, while I was teaching them, could not comprehend some of the characters. So in small ways, I tried to relate their own real life situations and connect them with some of the fine line that they have to cross for the cultural barrier that they face. An important factor in being a successful dancer, I think, or a musician, is how deep the student desires to pursue that art form. Classical arts, much less Abhinaya, cannot be learned from books, DVDs, or YouTube. It needs years of intense study under a good teacher and following it up with a great amount of self-study. Most of the Abhinaya happens to blossom around the mid-teen years, and many of the students, for academics or their further studies, they leave and they're gone by the time they're ready for serious Abhinaya. Internalizing the dance story with one's own life experience is essential. Incidents like personal happiness, sorrow, disappointments can be the springboard to connect with your dance. I cannot tell you how much I have been upset with the recent tragedy of George Floyd's death gripping the nation and the world affected by it. It connects me deeply to stories of discrimination and songs which talk about alienation. When I see this and I'm able to connect it internally. So the whole magic happens when we are able to connect that experience with whatever we are going to say. And practice, perseverance, and staying connected with all these things will help the student be an effective dancer and also make it relevant whenever she is performing. I would like to address any questions, if there are any.
Sujatha, give us few minutes.
Sure, I will.
Thank you so much, Sujata, for sharing such unique teaching techniques. Um, we would like to know some experiences of your times with Kalanidhi Mami.
It was a beautiful experience, and I think Kalanidhi Mami did not just teach songs, but I think she taught us all a technique and to think differently when approaching a song. The variety of interpretations that she would come up with, and the number of interpretations that she would keep coming up with every class was amazing. And she was a very honest and a very, to the point of being blunt. She would tell you to your face if you did not do it properly. And it's very hard to get much appreciation from her. You have to be really, really good to get some appreciation from her. And often she would make us think whatever we are dancing before we present it. And I think it opened my eyes to a new way of approaching a piece, thinking from the root upwards, not just learning different hands to do it, but to organically think how to do it. Probably after learning from Mami, one of the first padams I did it by myself was Ododi Vanden Kanna. And then I happened to perform it for the Doordarshan, and I was very, very scared that the next time I see Kalanidhi Mami, what she would say. But she said, "You did a good job. I liked what you did." So, which means a lot. And Mami's approach was way different from what was there before. And I think the way she analyzed each song and made sure that she covered it from all 360 degrees was a beautiful foundation that we all got from her.
Wow. Then how did you develop the methods of teaching the children? Any experiences you can share with our viewers on your early experiences?
My early experiences was, being migrant to this country. We all had I think knowing the Ramayana or Mahabharata was a given thing for us coming from a different country. I mean in India back home. So anything that was a cultural thing or everyday lifestyle was very normal, and we took it for granted. But coming here, for children especially who are born here and brought up here, and who have no inkling of lifestyle or the nuances of living, or even a word. For instance, if you say Sharanagatam, the word Sharanagatam comes with a lot of connotations. Or it says surrender, but surrender, total surrender, that kind of a language that was used. Or a simple, or showing emotions which are very, very typical, like all those things we do not see it here. We might see a little bit in movies or whatever, but those things have to be taught. But when we did them, I think even if a teacher showed it the first time, you'll be able to repeat it immediately. But here it has to be, you have to walk back the whole thing and not only show how the face is supposed to be done, but also enact it and bring all the connotations that come along with it. So when I was teaching, I was finding out that the expressions or the storyline was not coming through as I wanted it to come out from student. So instead of getting frustrated with it, I thought I will evolve small methods in which the student is able to understand what I want from them, and slowly build upon that until they are able to meet my expectations.
Wow. Thank you so much, Sujata. It was a really good experience with you.
Thank you very much. And I enjoyed presenting for you. It also made me think of the several steps. It's easy to perform, but I think to go back and analyze what we are doing and say it was a pretty interesting experience for me. And I hope your audience enjoyed what I presented. And I thank you and wish you all the very best for all your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Smt.Sujatha Srinivasan, for sharing your thoughts and experiences. It was very insightful, and I'm sure every one of our viewers would be benefiting from this. Thank you very much again. Now we move on to the second half of our show today. Our next artist for the evening is Smt.Sujatha Veeravali. Suthikshna hails from Chicago, Illinois. She is a Bharatanatyam artist and a Carnatic vocalist who has been pursuing both these art forms for over 20 years. She was trained in Bharatanatyam by her mother, Srimati Vanitha Veeravali, and music by Kalaimamani Dr. R. Suryaprakash. Suthikshna's performances take her across the country and India, including for Madras Music Academy's Spirit of Youth Festivals, HCL Festivals, Natya Arangam, Bharat Kalachar, Cleveland Tyagaraja Aradhana, and many, many more. Suthikshna has to her name the title of Yuvakala Vipanchi from Vipanchi Natyalaya, Promising Young Artist awarded by Brahmagana Sabha, and most recently, the Special Commendation Award from Bharat Kalachar. Suthikshna actively participates in youth collaborations between dance and music, which takes her on tours across the country. Suthikshna is currently a student graduate of special education and pursues these enriching traditional and complementary art forms. Over to you, Suthikshna.
Namaskaram to all. My name is Smt.Sujatha Veeravali, and I'm happy to be presenting this to you in the auspices of New Jersey Natya Sangamam's Breaking Boundaries online series. Thank you for joining me here today. I began with a composition by Poigai Arvar from the Nala Ira Divya Prabandham. The Pasuram is in praise of Lord Vishnu, thinking of the world as a lamp, the cosmic oceans as the ghee or the oil that fuels it, and the sun as the light, and asks for the misery of the cycle of birth and death, the ignorance to be broken and enlightened by Narayana. I will continue with an excerpt of a Vadnam by Dr. Mangalampalli Sri Balamali Krishna, Amma Anandadayini. I'll be taking the second half of that, Shive, 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 in Gambhira Nate Ragam, Aditaram. One line in this second half that spoke to me particularly asks Devi, whom this composition is in praise of, I want to know the truth, and I want to know what is not the truth. Please tell me the separation from the truth and non-truth, so I may be enlightened by your grace. Shive, 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 second half of Dr. Balamali Krishna says, Vadnam.
மணி செல்வயா திங்குனி நேதலியே மணி ಬಿಂಬ ಸಮಾನ ಮುಖ ಬಿಂಬ ಕದಂಬ ನಿಗುಂಬ ಮದಂಬ ಉಮ ಸಾಂಬ ಶಿವೆ 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 ಬಿಂಬ ಸಮಾನ ಮುಖ ಬಿಂಬ ಕದಂಬ ನಿಗುಂಬ ಮದಂಬ ಉಮ ಸಾಂಬ ಶಿವೆ 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 ಬಿಂಬ ಸಮಾನ ಮುಖ ಬಿಂಬ ಕದಂಬ ನಿಗುಂಬ ಮದಂಬ ಉಮ ಸಾಂಬ ಶಿವೆ
I will next present a padam, Javali in Ragam Paras, Aditaram, in the language Telugu, Smara Sundaranguni. This Naika is overjoyed and proud and confident that there is no one in this world who could excel her lover. Smara Sundaranguni,
It's 10 o'clock.
Seria Vede. I would like to mention that the choreography for the past two items have been by my mother and guru, Srimati Vanita Veeravali. I will be concluding this evening with a piece that is new for me. I had heard it a few weeks ago and instantly found it evocative. This is a Hindi folk song, Ambava Tale Dola, and it speaks about a young girl who gets married. And she has just left her house, her parents, her family, and all her cherished childhood items, toys, even her swing at home. All these things that have given her joy as a child, she has left in her house as she's carried away on a palanquin to the husband whom she will now continue her life with. And she is excited for the adventure that is to come, but yet there is a little bit of a longing for the things that she realizes she will no longer have. And so this folk song is a glimpse into this moment where she is realizing these things that she has left behind for the adventures to follow. Ambava Tale Dola. I hope you will join me in this first time experiment of mine. Please enjoy, and thank you again for joining me this evening. The vocal for this is done by a special request that I had made to Guru Priya Ataya, so thank you to her. Namaskaram. And thank you once again to New Jersey Natya Sangamam for giving me this time to share my joy and dance with all of you. Have a good evening.
What an awesome performance by Suthikshna. I would like to thank all the viewers for joining us live for this session. Our next will be on June 12th, Saturday at 5 p.m. Until then, I'm Rubina, signing off for New Jersey Natya Sangamam.